Triandafyllidou. I'm a professor at the Robert Schuman Center for Advanced Studies at the European University Institute in Florence, and my main focus is study migration, both migration management and migrant integration, multiculturalism challenges in Europe, and also what Europe can learn from other world regions. I think one of the most challenging issues that is arising today is how local issues of migration management are becoming global in their relevance. So on one hand, in terms of management of flows, border management or asylum seekers management has both a local or national dimension as a challenge for the specific country, but also global and certainly European dimension in that we see conflicts arising in different parts of the world that have repercussions for Europe and elsewhere. And the other thing that we see that I think is quite important is that local tensions of integration, or if you want local, at least partial failures of integration, socioeconomic exclusion of first or second generation migrants, discrimination, religious prejudice or cultural prejudice, assumes a geopolitical dimension, and it becomes interpreted not as a local issue or as a question of national policies, but as if it were an example of a so-called class of civilizations framework. I think this is, on one hand, something to be acknowledged. We cannot avoid it. Somehow, for instance, the radicalization or the marginalization of a small part of the Muslim youth in France or the Netherlands or Britain, it becomes somehow inextricably related with the situation in the Middle East and the IIS. And while there is a few hundreds or maybe a few thousands, certainly a one-digit number of thousands of young people who are radicalized and leave for Syria, for the Middle East front, to become jihadist fighters, this somehow assumes a global relevance, and it is on one hand blown out of proportion, but on the other hand it has certainly an impact on the public sphere, because these young people are also very much into the social media. So as the social media, for instance, in the Arab Spring, they were used to propagate democracy and civil liberties, now they're used to propagate extremist messages. Some people, immediately said, "Oh, we're gonna be talking about the pre-Charlie Hebdo and post-Charlie Hebdo, like we speak about the pre-9/11 and post-9/11." I don't think that this should happen, but what I'm quite concerned that will happen is because we're gonna have probably a rollback maybe on civil liberties and on judicial guarantees of our privacy. So we're seeing that the European institutions, but also the member states, are ready to go down the path of the US of providing full passenger data, full data on internet access, etc. We're going to be seeing a change in that policy. And if you ask me, I think this is a danger for democracy, because you don't know what kind of use can be made and whether we need such sweeping, if you don't mind my saying, violation of our privacy to catch a handful of extremists. So aren't there more economical ways? Are we going to see a Patriot Act in the kind of this sort in the EU? This is a concern for me. I don't think a few terrorists who put a bomb or murder some people, it's tragic, but I don't think this is a danger for democracy in Europe. Certainly, we are missing a global governance agency in the area of migration. We have such global governance institutions, for instance, in asylum. We have it also in trade, in health. We don't have it in migration. Now, of course, one might say, is it possible, or should we make the most of what we have, like the Global Forum on Migration and Development, or the combined work of something like the GFMD with the UNHCR, the combined work of the UNODC that deals with smuggling and trafficking, or do we need to build a new bureaucracy? I think probably what we need is a set of norms or a regulatory system more than a new institution.